What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's documentary review of Gamestop Rise of the Player. This documentary is directed by Jonah's Tulis. Now, before we begin, if you like this video, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top of the fun's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome, hit that like button as well as commenting below on any video that you watch, including this one. Have you ever wanted to be the fly on the wall, the person that kind of watched a event unfold, to kind of learn how it started, how it, became famous, and how it eventually got to the point it was? Well, that's what this documentary is, which is GameStop Rise of the Player, which shows kind of how the thing that was the short squeeze, which means the hedge funds that were shorting GameStop, completely lost their minds and lost a lot of money, and how the rise of just the normal individual rose the stock to be about $480 per share. And so this documentary shows the beginnings with, of course, Roaring Kitty and the group of individuals that kind of leaned into the idea that GameStop could eventually make some money, and how it did make some money, and how, of course, they became rich and how they became famous for what they did. And so, as we know, a documentary like this is something that is not very unique in its own right. There are a lot of documentaries that deal with these types of subject matters when it comes to stocks and shorting stocks, and the fact that The Big Short came out, which was a huge thing about shorting stocks in the housing market. It's just not a very unique subject matter, but the idea of what happened to GameStop is truly unique because it's something of a rarity that doesn't happen very often. You don't usually see, as they say in the documentary, you don't usually see the David actually taking over the Goliath. It doesn't work that way because the idea of shorting something like GameStop, which is a very volatile company in its own right, and then doing the short squeeze on it is more of just giving the middle finger to be personally to the hedge funds because they're making a lot of money. They're, bankrupting companies. And the fact that nostalgia with AMC and, BlackBerry and so on and so forth is a very powerful thing. So it makes a lot of sense that this would happen, but, it doesn't happen very often. But on the other side of the flip coin, I wasn't really yearning for a documentary about this subject matter, maybe wait 5 or 6 years, because it's so fresh in our minds. It's still happening in a lot of aspects. GameStop, as I was checking as I was watching the documentary, is still selling for $100 a share. It's still a very profitable market situation. So on top of everything, the only things that kind of interested me, even though I knew about this documentary but didn't really care about it, is I do want to hear about like the early people that worked into this thing, the people that really saw the value of it, the people that were really invested in it. They were individuals that were, kind of found a grouping with Roaring Kitty who made a lot of money off the situation. And it was something that I maybe find a little bit intrigue about it. But, watching a documentary, it felt like a coattails writing, something to, just to make a little bit of profit of, the situation that happened with GameStop. So after watching this documentary, after kind of, seeing what they were trying to do, is not a very unique documentary. It's a very, paint by numbers, very standard documentary, but it's still an interesting one. If you don't know anything about what happened, especially with GameStop stock, this is definitely a documentary I recommend because it really gets into the nuts and bolts from all sides of situation. It doesn't really go deep enough because it's only an hour and 30 minutes. But you get enough information from the original people who really felt that GameStop was going to do something, and you get kind of into their headspace. You get into the, the small time investors and the individuals that really love GameStop and really felt that this was going to do something. And then Roaring Kitty, who we found out was an individual working in the Wall Street bets space, and he was a guy that put $53,000 into the GameStop. And then, you also learn about like the hedge fund investors that made the mistake of saying that this is a stock you need to short. And there is some really cool interesting information. I love some of the animation style that they use, which was a very 8-bit style, and you see like the particular individuals they're interviewing doing stuff on the computer and stuff like that. But outside of that, it's just nothing that I don't know already, to be fairly honest. It's nothing that I feel is particularly interesting or intriguing. Yes, you're learning a little bit about these people, but it's just another documentary that feels like it was brought out too soon, that it really was just a surface level type of documentary in its own right. It does, like I said, have some interesting stuff, but it just feels very paint by numbers. Like I said, it's very, something I've seen a billion times before, and it's just not very interesting to me personally, to be honest. It's just not something that I was very much engaged with. I was looking at my phone, just kind of checking the time, because I don't really feel that they're bringing anything new to the table. There's no real deep, dark secrets to it. It's all the stuff that we've already learned, but it's packaged in a much more interesting interesting like entertainment value situation. You're not getting like the dry content and the, you know, like the time by time by time. But like I said, the thing of value is the people and the original investors who help the kind of, you know, bring it into the short squeeze. But to kind of end it there, if you're looking for something new or something different about what happened in 2001 with GameStop, you're not really going to learn anything new here. You're not going to be really invested because you've heard it all before. But I think Jonah Tulis and his producers and the people who got involved are at least trying to make something creative and entertaining for the people who don't really know much about it. And so if you don't know anything about what happened at GameStop, I do definitely recommend it because it definitely breaks down everything in pretty decent fashion. But if you know this whole story, this documentary is not going to do it for you. So I don't recommend it in that aspect. So it's kind of middle of the road when it comes to documentaries. So anyways, that'll do it. That'll be my take on this documentary, which is GameStop Rise of the Player. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below. What is your overall take on this documentary if you watched it? Are you interested in watching it? Do you know anything about this situation? All that good stuff. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.